Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Paul Reed and I'm a professional photographer. My main love is monochrome photography and I shoot using a Leica Q2 monochrome, and I also shoot black and white film as well. Up until recently, my film photography it's been a process where I have just been getting used to developing the films correctly, and I've been scanning them in and then putting them on Instagram and various things, putting them on this channel. Where this has been heading though has always been towards printing my work. That's the digital photography is the same, and I always like it to end up as an analog process. So even the digital photography, I do platinum palladium prints. Those are turned into negatives, huge negatives, and then contact printed as platinum palladium prints. So that printing process is really important to me, more so than the actual process of shooting the film itself. It's that printing process, because if these things don't end up as prints, then it just kind of defeats the purpose. For me anyway, it does, and I always want them to end up as prints. Now with film photography, it just is a no-brainer that we should be printing our own work in an analog way. I know that it's not the easiest of things to get into, because then that means you've got to have a darkroom of some sort. But look, back in the 90s, I used to have a darkroom and it was pretty much a cupboard, and all I had in there was the enlarger and 3 trays, and I managed then, and for some reason I've just never set this space up for myself again since back then. All this thing to do with scanning the negatives in and then not printing them, it just kind of doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me to even be shooting analog and then scanning it in so that it's a digital file, really. It makes sense to do it just to see what you've got, and maybe if you want to post some stuff on Instagram and things like that. But to do with the whole process of the thing, I really think we could be missing out here unless we're actually printing our photography in the darkroom. That's what I've been doing. So I printed my first couple of prints, and it's been a learning curve. It's funny how all of this stuff seems to come back to you so quickly though, and just being in that dark room and printing that work, I can't tell you how satisfying it is. It reminded me of what I loved so much about photography in the first place. It's not just about capturing those moments and capturing the images and things like that. It's about making your photography into a physical print. If you're into analog photography especially, find a way to get a space set up to get to start printing your work. It's no good just sending these films off just to get scanned in as digital files. Not for me, it isn't, because then what is the point? This is the thing I've been telling myself, because I've been doing it, but why not just shoot digital in the first place? For me, it was easier. That's why I was doing it. I wanted to shoot analog photography. I wanted to do that. I loved the process, I loved the fact of putting the film in and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, but the part to do with sending off, where they just scan it in and then you've got digital files, that takes a massive step out of it. Well, it takes a couple of steps out of it. For the first thing, you're not developing the film, so that's part of the analog process. You should really try to develop these films yourself, because there's a lot to do with the look of the final image, to do with actually how you develop the films. That stand development method, that in itself gives a really kind of specific look to the images. So So that development process is part of it. Your lab isn't going to do that for you. Well, it's unlikely that it will, but you can do these things yourselves, and you don't need a big space to do the development process, because you just need a black bag and a tub and some chemicals, and you're off. So it's really great to have that hands-on approach to that. But then why not just go the full way into analog photography and just get an enlarger and get some trays and get the chemicals for printing. You just need to just black out some windows or something, just with blackout sheets, and there you could be printing in no time, and that really is such a rewarding process. I take inspiration from all sorts of places, and this print was inspired by the show Lost. I don't know if you remember that show, and this is me spotting that print here. Sometimes you get a little bit of dust on your negatives, and it's good just to spot those out afterwards. Even that is such a rewarding process to do. Now, it doesn't have to be just film photography that you get printed as silver gelatin prints. You can actually get negatives made, and you can print any of your digital images also as a silver gelatin print. And that just opens up a whole new world also, because silver gelatin prints are just beautiful, beautiful prints. I send mine to RJ Print Lab. Roberto just does the best digital negatives that you can possibly get. He makes sure that all of the tonality is there, from the blackest blacks to the whitest whites, and he just makes sure that you get the perfect digital negative. I did a photograph called Pipe Dream, and this is just printed up so well as a silver gelatin print. I absolutely adore this print so much. There was lots and lots of hooks left in this house that I've just moved into. They're just all over the walls here, and my thing now is that I'm going to fill all of these hooks with silver gelatin prints. I would just much rather, if I drop dead tomorrow, I'd rather that people would know that I was a photographer, that there's physical prints here, so that they don't have to look through all the hard drives and things, that all these prints are there for people just to have. If you want to learn my approach to street photography, then get yourself along to one of my workshops. I do workshops in London and Glasgow, and there's a few dates available there, so just get yourself along on one of those. It would be fantastic to see you. I'm also doing a very special workshop in London, which is all about photographing strangers. You'll come away at the end of that day with lots and lots of street portraits. It's so much easier even to ask people to do street portraits if you've got something already to show them. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I'm going to be doing a lot more analog photography. I'm going to be doing a lot more printing. I'm so excited about it, and I really want to hear kind of your perspective on maybe what's holding you back to do with analog photography, as in the the printing and developing side of things. What's kind of really holding you back doing that? Or maybe it's just something that you're just not interested in. If you'd like to buy any of my prints, these prints are going to be extremely limited edition. So these silver gelatin prints, they're going to be priced very reasonably, but they're going to be in very limited edition quantities. I'm going to put a link in the description just to my contact form, and I'm going to put a price on there of those as well. But it would really support the channel also if you just purchase one of these prints. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. I really appreciate all my followers. I'll see you next time.